Next, let us look at something a little bit more complex. Let's start looking into parallel circuits. Let's start with a simple circuit. Let's think how we should connect multiple lights to the circuit. One way could be to put the LEDs or the lights parallel so that you have the positive and negative of the battery connecting to each of the positive and negative of the LED. And this is what we call a parallel circuit. Before we delve into the details of what it means and what are the implications, let's start building, or let's first try out the parallel circuit. So as usual, we'll start with taking the LED, and before we build anything, let's just make sure that the LED is good and the battery is good by connecting the LED to the battery and making sure it lights up, which is what we are doing right now on the video. Next, we have to bend the legs of the LED as what we used to do before in the simple circuit, and we'll do that by taking the positive leg, which is the longer leg, and making a small spiral out of that, which is what I'm doing right now. Next, I'll take that negative leg, which is a smaller leg, and make a small inverted V or a spike out of that. As I mentioned before, we do this just to make sure that it is easier to identify the positive and negative of the negative legs of the LED, and also to have a better contact of the copper tape when we stick that to the LED legs. Okay, now we're doing the same thing for the next LED. I'm making a spiral of the positive leg, and a small mount for the negative leg. It need not be perfect. As long as you can make the differences between the positive and the negative legs, that should be good enough. So next let's proceed to constructing the circuit. We will do a similar process what we did for the simple circuit, where we take a small patch of the copper tape and stick onto itself, so that a small piece of the sticky side is on top of the copper tape, so that we can stick the battery to it when we place the battery on it. Now I'm trying to position myself so that I can set the copper tape in the direction I wanted. As mentioned before, when you want to switch the direction of the copper tape, you first stick it in the opposite direction first, and then you fold it back, which is what I'm doing right now. Next, let's extend the copper tape so that we stick the LEDs to that. Before that, I'm going to stick the battery to the sticky side of the copper tape. Make sure that the negative side, or the side which has no marking on the battery, sticks to the tape. Okay, next I'm extending it so that the LED legs are sticks to the copper tape. So once you have both of the legs touching the tape, you can tear that part of the tape. Next, let's patch it a little bit more so that there is additional tape sticking to the legs, so that we have better contact. Let's do the same thing for the next side. Make sure that the LED legs are touching the copper tape. So now we are completing the circuit for the furthermost LED, and as you can see, as soon as the contact is made, the LED starts lighting up. We're doing the same thing for the innermost LED, and as you can see, it doesn't light up immediately, or just does light up intermittently. This basically means that the contact is not good enough. When that happens, just fiddle with the LED legs and make sure that the contact is good. You might have to press the copper tape more on the LED legs, or add a little bit more tape to make sure that you have good contact. And once the contact is good enough, you should see both LEDs coming on properly. There are other ways to connect multiple LEDs. Let's look into that next.